It's Ash from Imagineyourgoddess here. Today I'm going to be doing the first of many BT13 deck profiles for you guys, and well, the deck I've chosen to do is Tetra-drive Dragon, which is the newest Aqua Force self-standing. It's the only one self-standing Vanguard that they have, and it's the new boss card for set 13. So just starting off here, my starter is Officer Cadet Eric. Now really, there's a couple choices that you can run, like the new little bubble dragon here that comes in the set, but really, it's really a toss-up between the two. This one right here will get you a guaranteed break even, where this might break even. I'm just kind of used to running Eric, so I'm running him now, and he's kind of run okay for me. Generally, I don't miss the grade 3 with him, but if you find yourself missing the grade 3, go ahead and run the bubble dragon. But otherwise, he lets you get out to grade 3 because you really want to ride Transcore in this deck. That's kind of the ideal ride for you in level 3. So starting off with the triggers, I run 4 heals. To Vanguard, you should always kind of run heals because you want to be able to sack into a heal to maybe even win the game, or do the mythical double heal and all that kind of jazz. So there's that. Then I run 5 draw. So I run one of the Otter, of course, and 4 of the new one. And the new girl is Battle Siren Malika, and she's basically a Margot. Can put her in Soul plus 3k. And really, you can use her if you need a booster or things like that, or just to increase a column's numbers. But in general, the main reason you run so many draw in Aqua Force, and I would say that some people might even want to run 6, is that, well, you need a full field for Aqua Force, frankly, and so you need to be able to draw the cards you can get, as many cards as you can get to get a field, and also for guard, because you don't want to die while trying to get that field set up. So there's that. And then for the other things, I run about 7 crit. This is it can be anything really. I don't think there's any crits with the special abilities in Aqua Force. 3 of this guy because whatever, and 4 of her because I like the Argo Mothership Intelligence than any other ones. Moving on to the grade 1s, I run, of course, 4 Pascals. Always run 4 Pervy Shields, unless it's like a special type of deck. In general, though, most decks, if you don't know how many Pervy Shields to run 4. But they'll protect you from things and keep you alive and all that jazz. And then I run 4 of the 10k attacker. Now, the Aqua Force 10k attacker is a bit special in that when he attacks, you have to have the number of rear guards has to be 2 or less, or for him to get the plus 3k. So basically, he needs to be one of the first 2 attackers. Now, I just do this in case I have the ability to rush the opponent or anything like that. But this can be Theo really as well. So if you find yourself not being able to get his attack off, just run the AK. But for now, he's been testing pretty well for me, so that's why I'm running him. Then I run 4 Wheel Assault. Now this is another new card. The other one wasn't such as new card, but this one is actually a set 13 card. And his ability is Counterblast 1. When he boosts an Aqua Force, well, actually when he boosts anything, if you have an Aqua Force Vanguard, you can pay the cost, and then you swap the positions of 2 units. Now this can set up some pretty power combos that you'll need to get the Tetra-drive ability off, but we'll kind of get to that in a moment. And then, last of grade 1s, I run 2 Penguin Soldier. Now this is the standard play, and then Soul Blast 2, draw a card. And like I said, you need to be able to get your cards to field this setup in Aqua Force. So the easiest way to do that, of course, would be to draw the cards you need. So he goes behind the Vanguard generally, and that way you'll be able to kind of keep still a strong column with it, because he kind of messes up the other columns otherwise. So moving on, I run 4 of the 12k attacker. Now this is a similar requirement, just like the 10k attacker, and that is that when he attacks, if you have an Aqua Force Vanguard, the number of rear guards you have, 2, well, rear guards that are tapped is 2 or less, this gets plus 3k. So it needs to be one of the first attackers, again, and it's not too bad for the 12k. It's worse off for the 1k, but for him, it's still worth running him over the 10k vanilla. Grade 2 is Tidal Assault, and I run 4 of him, and he's another BT13 card. And what he is a clone of Benedict, which was the attack and stand unit that was a promo card. Now, he's a 9k level 2. Makes him a bit lower, but gives you a bit more options because it's in the level 2 slot. And basically, as long as you have an Aqua Force Vanguard, if it's the first time he attacks, well, he can stand himself. So basically, he's pretty nifty in that regard. You don't really have to attack with him first or anything like that, but in general, he's pretty nice in that he enables, stronger attacks. Well, not stronger attacks, but more attacks. And there's quite a bunch of combos you can do with him, which I'll show you guys in a little bit. Then, finally, I run 3 Valeria. Now, this can be anything. This can also be Algos, whatnot, but basically, when she's the 4th attack, which is very easy to do in this deck, she has a chance to kill the opponent's rear guard she hits. Now, I almost never get the effect off, but it's more pressure, and you really want more pressure in Aqua Force in general. So, if you're attacking a lot, yeah, but you're doing weak attacks, so your weak attacks need to have some weight behind them, some weight. So, pressure and killing rear guards is one of them. I like her art more than Algos. I think the draw effect may actually be better most of the time, but sometimes, retiring something is pretty cool as well. So, there's that. Moving on to my grade 3s. I run 3 Transcore Dragon. This is the break ride. When you break ride a Aqua Force over, it gets plus 10k, and the ability, when he attacks a Vanguard, choose a card from his or her hand. Well, the opponent has to discard a card from his or her hand, or you get a +1 crit, and he can't call guard. Now, from what I understand, you can still intercept and all that, but with swinging for 21, I don't think many people run a lot of the 10k intercepts anymore. So there's that, but it's really good with Tetra-drive because it makes it 21 and they have to discard a card. And really, with your self-standing Vanguard, part of the goal is to win the game, but if you can't win the game, what you do is you whittle down the opponent's hand. So it's really good, even with versus the clans that Aqua Force usually has a lot of problems with, and that's either retire or hard advantage clans that gives you plus draw and all that, because you don't have really a lot of ways to counter that. So this is kind of one of your little things here, and he's really good. Run 4 of him. Then I run the what do we call the star of the deck, 3 Tetra-drive dragons. Now I only run 3 of them because really Tetra-drive is good. He can stand. He has quite a few requirements to stand, but you don't want 4 of him because if you can help it, try not to ride him first. You always want to ride the Transcore, and that's kind of why Eric is there, so that you can assure that. But so there's Tetra-drive, and what he needs to do is he has to be the second attack. So when he's the second attack that attacks the Vanguard, of course, he gets the ability to counterblast 2, choose 2 Aqua Force from hand, discard, and at the end of the 4th attack that the rear guard makes, which in this case for this deck would be Valeria, he can stand himself. So it's not bad. It's actually pretty neat combos that you can do with that. And well, I say he's one of the weaker or more balanced self-standing Vanguard, so that's that. But I think he's a lot better than people give him credit for. The problem with that, though, in this format, you're versing so many retired decks or lock. Like Link Joker just shuts this deck down because they lock something, you can't make your 4 attacks. Or it's really hard for you to make your 4 attacks. You might be able to do it with 1 locked card, but not really with 2 or more. So, and then of course Rebirth and Nouvelle and all that. So it's pretty hard for him to do well in this format, but he's not a bad card. So there's that. And then my final grade 3 actually is Glory Maelstrom. Now, Glory Maelstrom is, well, he's a ultimate break, basically. A limit break 5, counterblast 1, attack a Vanguard. He gets plus 5k, and well, they can't call grade 1 or greater, so they can't perfect shield the attack. He's mainly there as a finisher, because when you exhausted Tetra-drive, you'll use this maybe once or twice. You're going to want to ride something over, and this is what you'll ride over to try to kind of end the game. Now, with the crits and things in this deck, it kind of makes it easier. And, of course, if you don't have a good booster, or if you have that 5k, like the Penguin Soldier there, then he'll be swinging for 21 with that ability. And 21 without Perfect Shield, I mean, that's, what, 2 10ks for 2 pass. But still, I mean, you're nearing the end of the game at this point, so he's not that bad there. But he's just your finisher, and in general, he's really good in most Aqua Force decks as a finisher. And that's why we have him. So I'm just going to, I'm going to set up a field so you guys can kind of see some kind of the ideal things for this deck, which is not that hard to hit, actually, with all the draw. kind of an example field. And here you have the Benedict clone. And what you'll be doing is you'll attack first with this. So that's 9k at the Vanguard. Probably not going to hit. I mean, you could put a booster behind this if you really wanted to, but it's just easier to do it this way if you want to get her effect off. So you do this, attacks, 9k, okay, doesn't really hit, stands itself, attack with this, and, well, I mean, you can choose to use a booster or not, but you'll do 2 checks, of course, your 2 checks, and then the ability is kind of like in limbo now. Next, you'll attack with this again. Hopefully you got a trigger, so you put a trigger on this. This is going to maybe swing in the rear guard now. Swing with that, and then now this will be the 4th attack. So you swing this with the 4th attack. Regardless of what happens, you can counterblast 1, swap these 2, and then this, of course, will stand at the end of it. And, you know, this kills something cool, if not, whatever. And this also protects your, well, it protects your Benedict here from being hit. So then you use the ability for him, and you know, you attack with a booster this time. But since you have this here, it's still a threat because your triggers can go on here. And, you know, this is kind of like a dead attack. But, you know, that's kind of how it is. But it's a dead attack, but your triggers can go in here, and this is still a threat, or at least can attack a rear guard most of the time. So you have it like that, and that's kind of one of the good setups that you can do with this deck. And I mean, it's not quite as fun as the multiple attacks that Ethics Busters and all that has, but in general, it's, you know, it's an Aqua Force kind of field setup, and it's you know, you can move your units back to protect them and all that. So that's pretty nifty of it. So let me see if I can show you another setup. Do something similar to this, and it's not really the idealized setup, but kind of gets you more punch at the beginning of the battle. So, you know, you start off with your 12k attack to whatever. This can actually be to a rear guard, so you can attack a rear guard at this point. And then you'll attack with him, boosted or not. And then you'll attack with this. So this column, then you'll counterblast, you know, take your counterblast, and switch these 2. So you switch to those 2, and then this will attack, of course, and then this will stand. Now, you don't have anything to put your triggers on. Well, you have this will stood. But this will be a 4k, and it's not really a threat. But you'll attack again, and that's how you can get your next attack in. This isn't really the idealized field there for that. And, you know, if you're following something similar to the other field I had going, then what you can actually do with Valeria is, if you have this there, let's say a booster, actually, this time. The thing you can do is, when you're doing the wheel assault attack, actually, you can counterblast 1 to switch the boosters here. So let's say if the first attack with this, you wanted to use a booster, then you wanted your, you know, the second attack, which is 4k, to have a booster, to make it like 11k, or maybe even a 9k again, so it can hit something maybe. You could do that as well. Those are just some of the variations of like the kind of fields that you'll be doing with this deck. But I mean, in general, I think the first field variation that I did is the most idealized so far. At least, I mean, it looks like it's a lot to set up, and it kind of is. You need a bunch of cards, and you really do need to draw the Benedict, and just a lot of things have to fall into place. Is where this deck's weakness is. Like with some of the older builds, when Benedict was killed or when Diamantes was killed, it was a really big loss for the deck. It's kind of the same thing with this build. If those die, well, you're really set at a disadvantage, and it's really hard to recover from that, and that's kind of where all the draws are from. So hopefully the draws and the penguins and whatnot get you where you need to be. Now, it does feel that Aqua Force is kind of a wear down deck, so you can experiment with this deck using stands and whatnot. In my testing, I feel like crits have been better for me. I just don't hit stands when I need to hit stands, and I just really kind of set up my fields to not really think about hitting a stand. And in general, I think like with the Benedict clones, stands aren't that good as well. But guys, experiment with that and take a look. See what you guys can come up with. But this has been Ash from Imagineyourgoddess. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.